I haven't taken it in like 3 weeks, and I've been in Australia just eating like a man possessed. Like, and I'm like, why am I getting so fat? Like, why am I eating so much? It's like, oh yeah, if you're on Ozempic, you actually have to take it. You can't just like leave it in the fridge.
Yeah, yeah, there is that. Yeah, sprinkle it over your meat pie, and then
I had meat pie for breakfast this morning, dude. Meat pies in Australia are so fucking good, dude.
Yeah, they're good, man. Yeah, they're good. They're good.
How are you guys?
Yeah, all good. All good. Been a great weekend, man. Been an interesting thing, but yeah, all good here. All good, my end, man.
How's your how's your bright and shiny clean lifestyle, Mr. Ian?
oh man, I am. You see, I mean, this is like a complete 180, you know? It's like, wow, this is what life is like when you're not. It's wonderful. Really.
Yeah, I gave up smoking weed too, and like in preparation for coming to Australia, I just like, of course, I ordered a bunch of weed, which like turned up on my doorstep as like
That's the thing, you know. It's like they legalized it in Thailand, and I just went absolutely crazy.
absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah, you know.
Because I hadn't smoked weed for years until they'd legalized it in Thailand. It was like, well, okay, and then yeah, and
Yeah.
I sleep amazingly well on it. Like, but it's time to lock in. I mean, the bull market is starting. It's time to lock the fuck in,
It is. It is. I'm going to share screen
Yeah.
please.
on that note, yeah, because you're right. This feels like we're getting to the business end of it now. So the option enter on these
Oh,
multiple.
by the way, when did we call the bottom?
Oh, it was with that little orange dancing gif, not so just a few days ago. Oops, look at that! I've just wiped the market. So this, when I was looking at this, right, it's a very short, mild tangent. It reminded me of a government advert years ago that was about dogs at Christmas and buying dogs as presents. And the slogan was, a dog is not just for Christmas. And it's like crypto. A crypto is not just for 1 year. It's not just for one cycle. For me, it's infinite. And if we look at this, congratulations, everybody. 200 days of going sideways, and nobody's completely lost their mind. Like, I've been very, very close to it, but this is the kind of reality of where we are and what can happen in crypto. But now let's just look at this little bit on the daily. So I think it was around here that you posted in the group about we've got to buy, the buy signal now, and we might be on. And then the next thing that we want to do, and I always try and keep this as simple as possible for the people that are like, I really don't understand anything that's happening at the moment. Okay. It's like, once we got the buy signal, what is that? Well, it's the lowest low in 10 bars and then higher close, lower close. Doesn't have to be consecutive. And then we want to see what kind of reaction we get from this line. That line is a line of support. It's not just pulled from nowhere. And we've had a small rejection from it. That's absolutely fine. We've just had this lovely little push up here. I mean, how much is that? That's like a 15% that we went up. So that's
And we
fine.
went 15% up with look at what the ATR is doing. So we're going up in a decreasing volatility manner, which is statistically a rare occurrence, and it also those are the longest running types of bull moves, and they're also the biggest types of bull moves, and they're also the rarest. When you get super fast rising volatility things, they're like, they're like a 16-year-old with a cheerleader. They're like two pumps and they're over.
Nice. So we'd call that divergence, wouldn't we? If we've got one thing going one way and one thing going the other.
No, not necessarily, because don't forget, volatility and price are extremely different in fundamental ways. Volatility is highly predictable, and you can see how the ATR just wanders down and then wanders back up and then wanders back down in like the bottom indicator panel that you've got. And you can see how that's really quite steady and predictable within reasonable bounds. Whereas price, it's all over the place like a mad woman shit. Like it's just like it doesn't. Price is extremely hard to predict if it's possible to predict at all. And the hardest times to predict price are when shit's going sideways.
Mm-hmm.
And the hardest times to predict price when shit's going sideways are when we're right in the middle of the trading range. The easiest times to predict price in a trading range are at the bottom and at the top. Where are we? Right in the fucking middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we are. And if we just go to the higher time
Oh, that's
frames,
beautiful. Monthly.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
the monthly is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, the
Hey.
weekly looks fantastic as well. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mm.
I reckon we're on here, boys.
Yeah. There's still a lot of general uncertainty in the world, though. And I still think that we need a catalyst. I'm not going to try to predict what that catalyst is. And there's all kinds of things that are already priced in that I would normally say, oh, it's this or it's that. I'm not going to say that anymore. But we've got potential catalysts and potential things, but I'm not going to play that kind of macro game. You know, I'm just going to list like things that are happening in the world. The war in the Middle East, it's still not like fully let's have it. It's like a bit of a tit for tat. Which way are we kind of going? The Russia situation is still floating between that. Who's going to give us the missiles? Where are we gonna go next? The interest rate cuts, it seems that they're already priced in, that there was no no thing from there. And then there's the election as well.
I think the election is the bigger one, right?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
The election is the bigger one, and what price does temporarily, I won't try and guess at, but I would say that crypto is not going to end if the let's say the non-crypto loving president gets in, if you know what I mean. Yes, taxes probably be a lot higher.
Do you know how to run the maths on this, Ian? Because the concept of this, it's very similar to a distressed bond situation. Let's say you've got a shit company that owes $1 billion and they've got 90% chance, a 10% chance of going broke and you get nothing, and a 90% chance of paying back in full. So what it's worth is like 0.9 times 100 less a 10% chance of a donut. And so we can run a similar sort of calculation with crypto. I think, what do you reckon in the chat? What do people reckon crypto is worth percentage-wise as an increase if we get an unashamedly super grifter, pro-crypto president who's going to launch his own crypto, and he's going to launch his own crypto in a way that it means the SEC can't really prosecute anyone unless they prosecute him first. And if he launches that he's launching that crypto before the election. So he's definitely being prosecuted by the SEC if he loses the election for running an unregistered security. Definitely. So crypto is definitely worth more if Trump wins. Crypto is definitely is not necessarily worth less. It's the uncertainty that's fucking with us, right?
I agree. Definitely. And you can see how the market reacts to different, the debate or things like that changes the mood about the elections, like goes up and down, wiggles up and down. So volatility is going to be there, I think, until we get a final election, right? And whatever happens, then obviously I do. Yeah.
The uncertainty disappears. So it's entirely possible that the Democrats win, they hate crypto, and crypto still goes up. It's more it's two things. Crypto definitely goes up a lot if Trump wins, but it doesn't necessarily go down if Kamala wins.
I agree. I completely agree. It's just the appreciation of people what but crypto, regardless of whoever wins, I think it's going to still go up. I do agree with you in terms of like if Trump wins, is going to be highly speculative. You know what I mean? Therefore, it's going to rise a lot of stuff, man.
He's fiscally irresponsible, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he's going to be dead in 10 years, and he's just going to print money. And he's a grifter, and he's all the things that that the Democrats say about him, but he's going to pump our bags for sure.
I agree. I definitely agree on that. Yeah. But if Kamala wins, I still think crypto has a really good upside, you know, in terms of everything that is. Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's just obviously no one knows, so everybody's fucking around, and then you know you get the volatility ups and downs, and then you get the news and get all this sort of stuff. So yeah, you just have to cope with that until that happens.
In the chat, Tim Griffith, think we will see any dog and cat eating meme coins? Yes, actually, I think if we I think if we see a pump in Solana, we'll probably see a pump in some dog and cat eating meme coins. I think if we see a war in Iran, I think we'll probably see a pump. I've got a Jew folio of Jewish coins, I think that's probably going to happen. Perry says that Bitcoin has gone up in the months after every election. This is not due to some mechanical effect. This is due to the uncertainty that's weighing on, I want to wait and see whether it zigs or zags. The uncertainty going away. And you can see that you can see that in almost every market. If war breaks out, there's war is good for markets. Governments have to start spending money. War is great for markets. There's Lord Rothschild said, buy to the sound of cannons, sell to the sound of trumpets.
Go.
Yeah, war is great for markets, guys. Oh yeah, let's just go and waste 100 missiles today at $1 million a pop. Fuck yeah, someone has to replace them.
And on the other side of crypto, if we move away from America and we move really away from people that even have a bank account, right? And there's about 1 billion people on the planet that are unbanked. They have no access to banking facilities. So there's a whole host of crypto products that are active in these countries where people are unbanked. And there's all kinds of, well, let me stop a minute, right? People who tend to have nothing tend to be, there's a word right on the tip of my tongue, they figure shit out. That's not the word I'm looking, inventive. They tend to be very inventive. You see it here in Thailand. You'll see somebody that's made some kind of bizarre chair out of something that should never have been a chair. It's usually the taxi men that are sitting on it. And you're like, oh, that's a cool idea. Well, that is happening right now in the part of the world that people don't really think about very much. And that's the people that don't have any money and they don't have bank accounts. So there's global crypto things that are happening away from America that are, underpinning the strength of,
while we're on that topic, I'd like to throw a little shout out to a product I've been using, Trocadero. And I'll put it in the chat. They are credit cards, Visa and MasterCard debit cards. You can buy preloaded with Bitcoin and Monero. And I've been using them. Goodbye, taxes.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting. I'll check it out.
Yeah, really fucking great. I've been using one for all that like recurring SaaS stuff that you woke up one day in 3 years' time and they've been billing you and you forgot that you joined it bullshit.
Yep. Right. All right, I'll check it out.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Interesting.
Completely anonymous, no name, no. Perfect.
That's gonna be interesting. All right, I'll check it out. Thanks.
I got a little link here as well. It's not as exciting as yours. So I've gone back to math. I never was very good at math, but that attitude has changed. So I'm using this.
Khan Academy's great. I go through it with my kid. It's wonderful.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I'm back in the going through the kind of the high school stuff, a complete refresher, going through it. I think that calculation you mentioned a minute ago was an EV calculation. Is that correct?
Yeah, expected value calculation.
Yeah, there we go. There. So anybody that does want to get on, yeah, brilliant. I got that as well. That's really good for probability and shit like that. But
And there's another one.
Mathematics, so you've got to be good at your fractions before you can, and that's why it's worth going back to Kant.
And there's another one called Beast Academy, which I'm a big fan of too.
Beast Academy. This sounds like something I might not want to click on. Why step out the room?
I also use brilliant.com. I think Brilliant is quite good as
really
well.
Good.
Yeah.
We're all in the stages that speaking for Maurizio and Ian and myself, we almost can't get to be better than what we are without knowing some basic maths and some basic. Kind of sucks. I shouldn't be telling people that, but we're at the stage where you got to know some fucking calculus, you dumb fucks.
Well,
yep.
Yeah. I mean,
yep.
Now, but calculus is when math gets conceptual.
Yeah, I dig it. I'm
going to be pretty interesting. But then you look at the robot James as a quant, and you look at our development team. They're all super high level maths geeks, and that's the
Have you met Jack yet?
No, I don't think I have.
He's Isan
as well, isn't he?
He's up country somewhere, and he's got a master's degree in maths. Fell in love with a brown-eyed girl, moved to Isan. Familiar story, tale as old as time. He a fucking smart boy. He really smart.
Yeah.
Similar story to you. I think he's in the forces. It's a similar story. You'd like him. He's a serious cat, and he's under James's tutelage. James has been like pointing him the right way. He's starting to like become a real quant.
Oh, great. Interesting. Yeah, I'm still picking up my maths, like real maths, right? Like you can do maths, but it's not real stuff that you can actually use with this stuff. So yeah, I'm still picking it up, and unfortunately that's have to like, and this is one of the things about education and things, right? You never pay attention until you actually have a real use of the knowledge. So yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
You're absolutely right.
All right.
I think so. Cool.
We're gonna do some fucking charting here.
Yeah, no, I have some I have some stuff in terms of we went into a few trades last week. The market is actually picking up pretty well. Huh?
I'm getting your alerts. There's some bangers.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm obviously let me just go through all the stuff that went last week so I can explain what the plan is and so you guys understand what I'm aiming towards to. So let me just share my screen, and because this is going to be a lot of action, man. I'm anticipating a lot of action to either direction. So I'm just so that's going to be cool, man. All right, anyhow, let's go through the weekly stuff on the mains. I think
pretty good, right?
Which one?
What you've got? Oh, that's FTM. Sorry,
FTM. Yeah, so FTM. Yeah, I'm gonna go through my picks for this possible week. I've been talking about it for the whole last week. You know, it was a little bit of a retracement over the weekend. It was a little bit of a pump, but it was a little bit of a retracement. So I think my plan is steady in on the ones that I want to definitely get in. So this is so weekly Bitcoin. The interesting. Let me show you what I'm looking at on the daily sort of aspect on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin. This wasn't Saturday. Yeah, Friday. Give or take. Yeah, Friday. So this line, this yellow line, right? This was the last sort of fake out we had last time in terms of the pump. But the interesting aspect is now you can actually see that perhaps that's going to become a support. So we can sort of start seeing that definitely now Bitcoin is holding up in these levels. So it was the first attempt. Obviously, we had a retrace. Now I think we're on. I think it's a really, really good aspect of the way that it's looking at. Obviously, there was a huge sort of retracement yesterday, but this chart looks fantastic. If this holds, then definitely I can just expect upsides. And then obviously we're going to change in terms, yeah, we're going to be bullish. However, I think volatility is going to keep up until we get the election things. When is the elections, by the way? Which date exactly? You guys know?
5th, is it?
Of November? Is it? Or
I think so. Can double check. It's
I'll
around that.
find out. Yeah, I'll find out. Because I think that could be that could be. So first Tuesday of November. Thanks, Jim. Yeah, so that's kind of the problem of this. So we gotta but as the closer we get to elections, I think the higher volatile the market will become. So be mindful in terms of leverage trades and stuff like that. Obviously, we have to cope with stop losses and things like that. We might get stopped out, we might not. Some things we're gonna run before the election, some things are going to retrace. So yeah, that's one of the things. But in terms of bullish terms, I think we are right there. And if we look it up from the weekly perspective, which just finished, this weekly candle looks pretty great. Like it looks pretty great. It came back from this level. So now we're back on these levels again. As you can see, it's still, we need to clear this level out, the 60,000 fully, in order to actually see, you know, the whole aspect to move upwards. But I think Bitcoin is
daily, weekly buy signals, beauty.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Ethereum, in the other hand, doesn't look really good, to be honest. But let me tell you my theory behind what might happen, and that's why I went into a trade on Mantle last week, a leverage trade. So we'll let me talk to, but this doesn't look good, right? Like it definitely is holding, but it doesn't look appealing at all, like from the weekly perspective. So yeah, I'm still Solana, on the other hand, still slowly, but it hasn't been able to actually clear this level, funny enough. The 140 level seems to be a really interesting level for Solana. So looking that one pretty close. So yeah, this from the weekly perspective and the majors, and then obviously the total three, it is from the weekly, it's people are buying out. You can definitely see that people, as soon as everything comes back in, this is just going to go nuts. That, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of the sense that I'm getting in looking at the total three. Even though we have done some Bitcoin and Ethereum, people are still buying out. So that's a pretty good thing in terms of all the positions that we hold. So that's pretty positive. So let me talk about Mantle, because I went into 2 trades on Mantle. Well, one trade is split on 2, and last week I did sort of like this is still like I'm still on those trades. This one is the 4-hour sort of scalp, which actually worked over the weekend, but then just in the last couple of hours, this thing just smacked down. But there's 2 things that I'm looking into Mantle from.
Have you seen the Mantle ETH yields?
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I went into this thing.
I just love the idea of buying a coin called meth.
Exactly right. So there is.
What the fuck were they thinking? like we need a name. We need a name. I know.
No, and you know what is the worst bit of it? So there is there is 2 things that I went into this one. One, price action wise, obviously we do have a setup here in terms of the daily candle. So I sort of split my trade on 2, one with the stop loss in here and another one with the stop loss on the daily, right? And I'm gonna be holding these ones maybe, but here's the reason why. So Mantle is going to be an airdrop, a big airdrop, a lot of expectations about this thing. And the airdrop, they created a coin that is called Cook. So Cook meth, right? I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about, right? So essentially, I do going to see a lot of volatility on this, hopefully to the upside. And the reason why is the way that the airdrop works, let me just show you. So you go to Mantle, right? You go to Mantle and you need to stake your ETH, your regular ETH coins, okay? So you hit stake now, and then essentially you convert your ETH and they give you METH. So, METH, right? The METH coin. Now, only by holding METH on your wallet, on your MetaMask, you're going to be entitled to an airdrop of Cook tokens, right? That you can read all about it here on the website, and you can do a lot of different service strategies in terms of actually get more airdrops and stuff like that. We don't go into it, but the safest thing is just by staking ETH by METH. You hold it on your MetaMask wallet, and then you get automatically you qualify for the airdrop. It's going to happen in 1 month, so and everything is going to happen on this protocol, on the Mantle protocol, right? So that's the main reason why I'm looking into actually entering that one. We got a little bit of a liquidation event here on this candle, but I'm still liking it. So
I like it after a liquidation.
Yep, definitely. So now it makes we didn't get it stopped out on the. I'm still on these 2 trades, by the way. So it's the same trade but with different stop loss. So keep your sizes accordingly, right, guys? So make sure that that's this is the one that I went on Friday. I might be able to bank some profits around this level on this trade only, on the one that I took, and then move the stop loss and then leave it hopefully for this one. So there's 2 things about this one: price action and all the things that are going to happen during this month on the Mantle network. Especially with airdrops and stuff like that, we tend to see that tokens that are riding the airdrops are actually appreciating value, at least short term. Will that be a catalyst for the bull run? Perhaps, who knows? Because obviously that could be the impulse that this thing needs in order to keep moving up. I think Mantle does have a really good project going on. Bybit actually uses this, and if you don't want to stake, there's another way of actually getting METH, and if you go to Bybit, you can actually buy METH. But in order to qualify for the airdrop, you need to put it on your MetaMask. You cannot actually leave it on Bybit. So if you don't have any MetaMask, so there is a lot of people talking about this. So if you do have some ETH that is not doing anything,
Ian, this is a lot less complicated than finding a Nigerian guy on a soy 4, right?
Definitely, and it's quite safe. Like, it's safe in a way because ETH and METH is actually working parallel, and then it's not gonna go away. You can actually exchange your METH on Bybit by any token. You can trade METH and Bybit. So it's sort of I'd rather do this sort of safe stuff, you know what I mean? And then you might be qualifying for some airdrop. So there's a lot of expectation on this. So that was the whole basis on this trade. So are we going to get stopped out on this one? Maybe. But let's see what happens. Yeah, let's see what happens in this one. But it could be a really good sort of trade from that perspective. But then is the other trade as well that you can actually just stake the ETH, no risk involved. If you do have some ETH available, then you can just stake them, and then you're gonna get some kind of rewards by getting the Cook token that you can sell once you receive it, and then that's how airdrops work. So that could be something that you might be interested in. So yeah, this is kind of the whole spell on Mantle. So yeah, it is an interesting proposition, right? So yeah, besides that, things that are working out really well are actually some trades that we went into last week. So obviously Drift is working really well. I knew that one. I really like that one. So Drift now is actually 40% up from our entry, give or take. Yeah. And now, if you look this from the weekly perspective, this thing looks fantastic. So I'm expecting that this one go at least to probably one. Yeah. And this is a great project, by the way. Have you played with Drift before with this project, Scott?
I think it's Gay. It's the competitor of my buddy who owns Hyperliquid. I think it's I think it's VC backed. I think the chart looks amazing. There's no
Yeah.
doubt the chart looks amazing. I think the liquidity
It's
is
bad. Yeah, it is not great.
bad.
Yeah,
I
it is
couldn't
bad.
trade there. I couldn't run FinnRev on it. I think Hyperliquid is going to dominate that space. I think it's
Yep,
a Hyperliquid DYDX V4 and
I agree. Yeah,
maybe Apex, which is a dark horse. Drift is blowing up because there's all these influencers pushing it
yeah.
and VCs behind it. I think it's going to pump. I think as a trade, fucking magnificent trade. As an exchange, I won't use it. I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And good that you bring that point because that's something that I'm close. And one of the reasons why Drift is pumping, they have these competitions about the election. Okay. So I think this is going to be continuously until the election. I'll be taking some profits and then just being off risk on this one. Probably towards the end of October, something like that. This keeps going up, which I think it will, but then just, yeah, be mindful on that one. So yeah, that one, is working well. IO is still not that great, but yeah, we still have some really good stuff coming out this week. So yeah, I think that's things that I'm looking for this week. I'm looking into FTM. So FTM is now looking much more appealing, and they do have the rebrand coming. So I think this could actually, this is daily, by the way. This is starting to look appealing in terms of a bullish sort of run. So yeah. Besides that, all the ones that all the ones that I also talk about on the weekly are still there for a buy. So yeah, that's pretty much what I have for today, guys.
Interesting. A question about airdrops, Maurizio.
Mm.
You're the expert on airdrops. It seems to me that like the nature of airdrops has changed, and I don't know if they're the same kind of alpha that they were before. Like I could be misunderstanding, but like airdrops used to be like quite hard to get. You had to be first, you had to be an early invest, but now it seems like you can get an airdrop bug in anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. And the fact they are easy to get, they're really less effective. And a lot of companies now rely on airdrops to launch their projects, so it's less effective. So yeah, psychology has changed a lot about airdrops, which yeah, is one of those things that's why you see a lot of tokens or the airdrop tokens that actually work at the beginning and then they die. You know what I mean? Like, let me show you one. Cloud, for instance. Cloud was a really good token that it was actually airdropped. Let me have a look at this one. And usually what happens after the launch, after the airdrop, these things die. If the project is good, usually they come back. So those could be really good plays in terms of trades. But then it's hardly any airdrops that actually will continue, you know what I mean, from the get-go. So have that in mind in terms of that's something that I'm adding into my arsenal in terms of start shorting. So some of these tokens are actually launch, so you can short them. And those could be really good trades if you know that it's an airdrop, and if you know that people are selling, and if you know that you can actually short a little bit on it. So they could be really good trades. So in terms of the psychology, a lot of people are just getting airdrops to get the tokens, and the psychology before was that people actually backed it up. They had locks on the airdrops, so they couldn't sell. Now it's just proliferation of things. So yeah, has changed a lot.
Interesting. When are NFTs coming back?
NFTs are going back,
These are
man.
never coming back.
Yeah, I have another one. Let me show you this on the new product, because obviously this is quite handy chart that I'm looking always, and this is all the new projects from that sort of get launched from January. So in terms of things that are breaking above. So obviously we went into drift because of it. Now I can see some new ones coming in. So Camino Finance. So I'm trying, like, the thing that I don't like about Camino Finance is the liquidity and stuff like that, but it seems to be holding and breaking above. So that's another one that it might be a good buy for this week and hold perhaps. So, and Natix as well.
Can you post the link for this chart? Because that's a banger.
Yeah, this one is a pretty good chart, and so far it's been doing pretty well. So this was the listing price. I was aiming to get around this. I missed the price around here, but I'm still, we are sort of on these levels here, but it looks pretty good. This is in Solana though. This is in Solana as well. So I think if Solana banks, I think Drift, Camino, Natix, all this Solana stuff is going to pump dramatically, especially this one as well. This one is been holding pretty well. There's no perps on this one as well. So it is a very sort of spot driven price action, which is not bad because when you start seeing that breaking above these levels, you have good holders in a way, and there's no one shorting this. In terms of shorting the price action, there's no perps at all. So I think that could be a really good one as well to get into. So been tracking for a while and it looks fantastic, I think. And actually the project is not bad in terms of what they're doing. That's Solana based token as well. So yeah.
Market shorting, that sounds really exciting, mixed with some seasonal
Yes.
trade. And yeah, this is great, you doing all this research and you staying on top of this and everything. I'm definitely more in that kind of seasonal, I want to turn up when.
Yeah, because I barely paid attention last week. I just paid attention to the big picture and I spent the week at the beach at Noosa and fucking went fishing and took my kid boogie boarding and shit. Like for me, when the market's boring, I don't want any part of it. I'm with Ian. I'm a seasonal shitcoin slanger. And also I've just absolutely been butt fucked for the last 2 months from I have. Last month was a single month $882,000 drawdown for me. So I'm a little bit gun shy at the moment. I thankfully when shit was going real good, I pulled out $2 million US in cash. So I'm feeling good about that decision. But if it wasn't for that, I'd be crying.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Which I think I'll be doing much more like short-term scalps here and there because they could be good opportunities. But the downside, Alvin, guys, and I have to be completely in front of it, with the short-time stuff, if we send a signal, something like that, you know what I mean? Once you get into it, you might miss the signal. You know what I mean? If that's the downside on those things. So we might do that. But yeah, no, market looks good. Like I really like it. Like so far, there's the great opportunities out there to
great opportunities again. I just want to address something in the chat. So Kevin says, if the dollar crashes as some expect and the US economy goes down with it, what do you think will be the impact on crypto? Okay, so let's start from the basics. As long as I've been alive, motherfuckers have been saying, oh, the US national debt, the dollar's going to crash. As long as I've been alive, people have been doing that shit. Now, the 3 times in my life when the shit actually has gone bad, 1987, 2001, 2008, none of those assholes picked it. Not one person picked it. Like, I was up at Noosa yesterday, which is this beach in Australia. Like it's a rich guy beach community in Australia. It's like some of the most expensive real estate they have. And I'd owned a bunch of real estate there. And I remember I was thinking like, I was planning on getting $500,000 a year in appreciation in perpetuity. I was like already counting the money as like, those are the times you get fucked. So what you want as a long only investor is you want significant fear, uncertainty, and doubt. So if you think about what a soft landing, like usually I don't listen to the macro bullshitters, but if you think about what a soft landing looks like for the economy, a soft landing for the economy looks like us oscillating between, oh, fuck, it's going to crash, it's so over, and, oh, we're so back. And then, oh, fuck, it's so over. And then, oh, we're so back. That's actually what a Goldilocks best outcome looks like, is us just getting PTSD from like, oh fuck, what if Kamala wins the election? Oh fuck. Now, if the worst comes to worst, the US dollar crashes. And this has happened many times a year. And there's a great free book on it by Ray Dalio called Principles for Navigating Big Debt Crisis. And he's analyzed every time that a reserve currency has shit the bed and been replaced with another reserve currency. So the last time this happened was the British pound. British pound used to be the world's currency before. It was much more important than the US dollar. The British pound went down by 43%. The average peak to valley drawdown in real money, in gold money, for a currency losing reserve status is 45%. And this has happened, 6 times over the last, this has happened 6 times over the last 500 years. It's going to happen again. You don't want to get into the game of thinking you can predict the future. So the reason for that is that the rising tide of technology lifts everyone's boat. Like, the reason the stock market is pumped isn't because of all the money printing. It's because we've got the internet. It's because we've got all these amazing, like, you don't need an accountant anymore. You have a piece of SaaS software that you pay $50 a month for that does your accounting. You don't need a secretary. You don't need to spend 3 hours a day traveling across town for meetings. You got Zoom. Like, these are things that really improve human quality of life. And as long as humans continue to come up with new cool shit, you don't want to bet against human prosperity. You know, like AI is probably overhyped, or definitely overhyped, but we're using it in our company? Like in 20 years, it's gonna save everyone a bunch of time and a bunch of money, and we're all gonna wonder how we ever lived without it. Like Dalio could be wrong. He's just one guy. You don't want to be the guy betting on currency collapse ever, because even if you're right, you'll pick 12 out of the next 1 currency collapses. The guys who consume all that doomer porn, boomer-fi, fucking buy gold, prepper bullshit, we call them poor. You don't want to bet that China's overtaking America. America's fucking heaps cooler than China. Fuck China. Like, what have they ever built that's new and original? They just copy bullshit. Like, you don't want to have a dog in that fight either way, right? That's having a dog in that fight. Predicting macroeconomics is fantasy football for dickheads. Don't play that game. It's like a losing money game. We get paid for taking risk. We get paid more in crypto because we take more risk than the other motherfuckers. That's all it is. It's not that we're smarter. It's not that Bitcoin is the future of money. It's just we're taking more risk. Why did the guys who were early to Bitcoin get paid so well? Because they took much more risk than you're taking today. That's all it is.
Absolutely. I mean, like, it's easy to say things like, oh, if you put $100 in Bitcoin when it first came out, you'd have $50 million today. Well, okay, great. Well, there's a fucking million coins today that you could put $100 into. But I can show you my wallet from 2012. It'll break your fucking heart. I had 1,100 Bitcoins at an average cost price of $4.23. It went up to $32. And then it went back down to 22, and I puked them.
Yeah, that's the tough one, right? Like, and this is,
I left 9 in the wallet, and then put those 9 in Mt. Gox, and Mt. Gox rugged it, and then they're the coins that I just got back now.
not Mount Gox, but speaking of another individual, I see that what's his name? The FTX chap has put forward, his lawyers have put forward a 110-page appeal that because the regulators are going to pay out cents on the dollar to FTX customers, that means that the whole trial was a fart and the cunt's trying to get a retrial. You know, he only got 25 years. He should have got 250 years. But yeah, that boy could be back. He could be out soon.
No, he's not getting it. Like I did 5 years at law school, guys. The defense that I sure I stole your money, but I went to the racetrack, gambled it, and paid it back afterwards is not a defense. Like this is not the first time someone's tried like no harm, no foul as a defense. Fuck that guy, fucking weirdo.
What are they paying for that FTX payout?
The FTX payouts were people were selling them before they got their money back. James got 90 cents in the dollar.
Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah, you could get that. Yeah,
it was a couple of $1 million on it too. It was like it was big money.
And they're going to start getting paid out, but then the problem you went out because I'm part of it as well. And one of the problems is that I've been averaging Bitcoin for a while and I was doing it on FTX because of it. And then the problem is that now the way that I'm going to get paid is they're going to quantify the price of Bitcoin at the price of the, when on the meltdown. So whatever Bitcoin I had there was actually at $16,000. They're going to pay me out on that. So I'm going to, So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, not great, but at least you're going to get something back. But yeah, and they're going to pay you in USDC. So that you're not going to get your coins back, whatever you hold, which is, it is what it is, man. It is what it is.
If you weren't constantly getting fucked by some thief, we wouldn't have the potential to 10x our accounts.
Yeah.
Sure. Is there anything on FinnRev that you want to look at, Scott?
Sure, let's bring it up. I reckon that's probably a pretty good idea. So before this, let's look at the lows. So the way that I run these squiggle charts is I'm looking for relative strength from this, which is our as soon as we are sure this is a low, everything changes. So are we, how sure are we that it's a low right now? I think we're about 70 to 75%.
Yeah, I was going to say 60 to 65. Yeah, 60 to 70. Yeah.
I think 70 is probably a medium thing. After the election, Bitcoin at 70,000, then I think we're at 90. What are we seeing here? So this dark blue line is Bitcoin. The rest of them are altcoins. All these altcoins, most altcoins are beating Bitcoin. This is a sign that we're having something that we haven't seen this cycle at all, which is altcoin dominance. Previously we've had Solana dominance and Bitcoin dominance and meme coin dominance and fucking nothing else. So what's winning? Sui, which I thought was a VC pump, appears to be doing really well. FET is beating my choice of AI. FET is an AI coin. It's beating my choice of AI coin. Ontology is pulling back. This is probably a pretty good buy right now. And Aave is the standout and Pendle as well. These guys here. So far, the ones to beat, right? Let me add AR to this so we see. Where's AR? Yeah, it's fucked. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to see. The second thing we want to look at is let's look at FinnRev has been taken in the ass the last week. So let's look at, and this is because we're going up when we were short. We were short, we're taking it down, we're down about, we were up 2%, now we're down about 8%. So we're about 10% down at 50 vol, and we're about 4%, 5% down at 35 vol. What have those returns looked like? Not great, honestly, because we were short. We were short in printing when the market was crashing. Oh, it's going to take me a while to log into that. Are you logged into your FinnRev, Ian?
No, I'll log in now. Go.
Yeah, do you want to do that? I just haven't got my phone with me, so I've got to do the two-factor bullshit. Look, I'm just comfy in FinnRev. Like, you know, if we look at FinnRev in the long term, let's just look at the last 12 months. This is the average of everyone across every exchange. It's all pretty good. Binance is a standout. No one's on 35 in Binance. You know, Binance is absolutely a standout exchange because it's got better liquidity. DYDX version 4 is very good so far. Bybit is what I'm personally using, which is not bad. No one else is using 35 vol on Bybit, but it's been between, for the last 12 months, 71.8 at 50 vol and at 35 vol 62.2. Not so bad. Yeah,
Pretty much weighted across longs and shorts at the moment. Just opening up the FinnRev. Biggest long position is XRP, which is double the size of BNB, then SUI, FTM, BSV. And on the shorts, the biggest is.
Do you want to share?
Yeah, which is
so it's about 50-50.
Yeah, at the moment.
Short INJ. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I don't think FinnRev's going to do much this week. I think it's balanced. It's hard. It's hard to do. I think it'll be small gains. We're just working really hard on getting all these new edges up. James is quanting his ass off. So fortunately for us, one of James is a very senior quantitative researcher whose physics PhD, worked for BlackRock, one of the most famous quants around. And one of his kids' friends said, "Oh, James's daddy drinks a lot," and James does. He drinks a lot, and so it really hit James in the feels, and he's gone on a fitness fanatic thing, and he stopped drinking, and he looks a million. He had COVID the other day when I spoke to him, and he looked $1 million. He's like glowing with health through the COVID, and he's almost got a six-pack, and he's working his ass off, like enjoying quanting. So for me, like we've gotten lucky with James. He's decided to go full throttle on his job.
And that's just amazing to have somebody like that that's part of this company that's doing that for FinnRev. You know, it's just like we got amongst. Would you say that James is in the top 5% in the world?
Oh no, there's like 1,000 dudes in the world who know the shit that he knows, and most of the starting salary to do this as a junior for so junior salary for Jane Street, you can look it up in Glassdoor.com, is about 420 grand US plus bonus. So you're looking at about between 500 and 650 for total comp for a raw graduate, and he's 20 years in. So he's the sort of guy that ought to be paid around $1 million total comp US. Is he the sort of guy that we could afford if he didn't love us and wasn't passionate about the project? And we caught him right when FTX ruined his life, right? So also, we don't make very many demands on him as an employer. I mean, he's my great friend. We hang out, you know, we have some beers together. We go yuck it up in Bangkok. Like he's a great friend, and we chat all day. But you know, in a million years, because the sort of person who is like James but not James is a career focused guy. Like they only want to work for like the top 5 companies. I couldn't lure one of them away with double the salary that they're getting, and his market salary is probably $1 million a year, so US. So like I take what I'm given as far as James, and you know, be thankful every day for it, because he's a wonderful man. Like Maurizio, you've had a lot to do with him now.
Yeah.
Like he's
Great
an
guy, man.
absolute mensch. And you know, my trading has improved out of sight just from, and he tells me stuff like, you know, I didn't want to pull $2 million in cash out this year. He told me to. It's like, fuck, we're making a lot of money this year, bro. And he's like, he said to me, if you're making enough to tell me about, you're making enough to rebalance out.
Mm.
And I pulled out enough to buy a house and pay all my taxes and all that shit. And since then, I've got absolutely cunted like in a biblical sense. So like there would be, so just his advice is like, now I've got my dream house, like I'll never want another one.
Nice, really
Yeah,
nice.
yeah. Just from his advice, really. Like that's good advice. Like when the shit's going really good, like how about you pull some cash out, because you're gonna get cunted soon enough.
For sure. All right, we're just coming up to the top of the hour. Is there any coins that anybody wants reviews, or any last questions or bits of interest or anything?
Aave, absolute standout. Ina,
Yep.
like dog shit. I'm a bag holder. Let's take a quick look at Ina.
Yeah, Ina is not doing good. Ina is not going any good.
I think if you're holding Ina, you got to cut it below here. And I am holding Ina. The thing that's keeping me is that the volatility keeps going down. If we saw increasing volatility to the downside, I'd be very, very worried. This could easily paint a God candle though, and then be off to the races, just because it's so universally hated. Yeah, great concept, terrible result. What else we got?
Have a look then. Retardio. So I think Retardio will catch a bid when Sol pump. Yeah.
This is one I'm keeping an eye on too. Jive. Let's look at Retardio. Yeah, I'm not too worried by this. So the things that I'm looking at is the number of holders keeps going up. There's more people on it. I follow the sentiment on it. There's a lot of liquidity on it. $1 million, 1.2 liquidity for a $34 million market cap. Huge mind share. Some of the biggest, like if we look at like some of the biggest influencers.
Hey, Marilyn. So it's just asking if there is access to replays of the USDT stablecoin sessions that we did, or just stablecoins. Yes, there is. They're all in the 100x. Just go to the discovery or the start here section, and you'll see them. You'll see them pinned, or just search the group. Just use the word stablecoins, and everything will come up. All 3 calls are in there.
Phantom, I really like from here. What do you?
Me too.
Maurizio?
Yeah, I've been tracking Phantom for the last week. I'm almost getting like on Friday as well. And from this drop, I think is holding pretty well. So I really like Phantom. The fact that it's a few things coming up as well besides the price action is the new rebrand and good project still. A lot of people use it. So it's a, yeah, I think we're going to get into it this week anyway. So yeah.
Do I have a price target for Retardio? I have a market cap target. It's at 34 million now. My market cap price is 1 billion. Yeah, Mitch, we're going to run up as soon as we see some strength. I've got a couple of boys who owe me some favors there. I'm going to be calling them all in.
Superb. Okay, then what's your kind of final word on what everybody should do this week, Scott? And then we'll call it a day.
I think Maurizio's on the right track. I probably should have been grinding it out last week. There were some very good profit opportunities which Maurizio took that I did. But I was overeating my fat ass at the beach. I would lock in. I think it's time to lock in. Get fucking paid. Honestly.
Yeah, that's why I started to looking into leverage trades, because it could be a really good time to get position on that like that. So I've been calling. I'll let you guys know if I go in on a leverage or not. But I do think there are great opportunities coming in this week. Yeah, bear in mind volatility is going to be a huge factor. But yeah, I like the way that the market is heading, to be honest.
And you know what but the thing that I'd say really clearly is that it's not certain yet. The idea that, so what everyone wants to do is, I just want to give it another month and make certain, wait till after the election. It's too fucking late, guys.
Yeah.
Like, the easy part is when it puckers your butthole. The hard part is when it looks like free money. That's basically it. You know, we get paid for taking risk. When the risks feel like they're like, oh, I don't know, maybe give it one more week, that's usually the time to get the fuck on it.
And also in that same breath, Maurizio's daily update videos are just,
yeah, they're fire.
And you know, everybody who gets the chance, watch them. They really are cool.
Enjoy your week.
All right,
Nice.
guys.
Thanks, everybody. Ta-da.